welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master Dave, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, friends, we are marching into the end of the Clone Wars, and we are into the final arc. We have Episode 9, Old Friends Not Forgotten, and we're calling this Part 1. At least that's what it says in the cinematics.
Yeah. Part 1 of 2 surprises. We have 2 more arcs.
Well, yeah, I think this is sort of, what we're waiting for. We had talked a little bit about this beforehand, where I believe that the Bad Batch stuff was already a thing prior to this season being brought to fruition. I don't know about the Ahsoka arc, but or at least the first Ahsoka arc, but I'm pretty sure the Bad Batch was already something that I don't know if it was actually put together, or maybe it was storyboarded or at least written prior. But I think now we're really seeing what the story truly is. So this is just my opinion, but it's kind of like, I think that this is season 7 of Clone Wars, and the rest was just like, well, we have to make it longer than 4 episodes, right?
Yeah. I mean, essentially what they could have done was just make another Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like.
Well, there was
really what it feels like.
Yeah, there was somebody on Twitter that was posting something about hey, sign this petition to have this whole last arc be put into an actual cinematic form, like a full form movie type deal. So maybe that is indeed kind of what maybe we were supposed to get, or what it feels like we're getting. Because even, I mean, not, we'll just jump straight in here, but the opening cinematics felt more like a movie than just a show.
Yeah, we had Lucasfilms LTD plastered all over it, unlike the other episodes. We had the scrolling format for Star Wars. It was way different. It was pretty exciting to see all that.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna jump obviously into this episode and micro break it down as we normally do. But as we always start off these episodes, so how's it been going this week?
It's been a long week. The other technician at our shop is quarantining for potential COVID diagnosis, waiting on that. And so now I'm completely quarantining too, because I worked Monday with him. So I'm going insane. Can't even go out to grocery shop right now. And it is self-inflicted. I mean, yeah, I could be one of those jerks that just goes out and spreads it, but better safe than sorry. I've got some family, we both do, that has some immune system issues, so I understand the risk. But other than that, I mean, not doing a whole lot, keeping my mind going with a few little projects around the house and trying not to shop around and spend my stimulus money. Other than that, just kind of the norm, back to overtime and all that good stuff.
Right. Well,
it's that time of year.
This is really kind of the first time in history that we've dealt with an illness or a potential, epidemic in this form and fashion. We as human beings have never done this before, and even the most recent memory of something that would even come in, it surpassed this, but you can debate why that was or not. I'm not, but the Spanish flu. But the thing is I even read an article about that, what people did to, cope with this. And they were having dances and stuff. So it was actually being social. Whereas, humans inherently, even when you have people that call themselves introverts, yes, you might be introverted. Yes, you might enjoy your peace and calm and all that of just being alone. But at the same time, that's not, I don't think that that's ever universal for everybody. That some communication, some interaction is always good and is always, wanted in most cases. So,
And I think an introvert likes the option of being away from people.
yes.
When it comes down to being forced to be away from people, they kind of go insane just like everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I guess we both have our bouts of that, I suppose, but I wouldn't call either of us full introverts by any stretch. I don't know. I know that I've probably entered a sort of a phase of just being a little down myself because, like we were talking about beforehand, I haven't really felt motivated to do anything. It's like I know that there are things that I could do, but I just choose not to do them right now because I just don't really feel like it.
Yeah, you don't see the point in it,
Mm-hmm. And there's definitely a point to a lot of the things that I have, or that I could
you don't
do.
care about the point.
Yeah,
melancholy almost.
It kind of, yeah, and it kind of has a little bit to do with blending work and home because I don't do that. I actually. And I know that I've expressed this. It's like I am grateful that I can still work. I'm not, and I'm not going to hide it because I don't think it's ungrateful to have an understanding of things. I don't like working at home. It is honestly more draining than going into the office because it's like trying to balance what you normally do at home and what you do at work, and what you're doing for work at home now, it just doesn't always balance out properly, at least not for me.
Well, I mean, how would you feel if you had to sleep at the office? You'd feel like almost a slave to the place.
Right.
It kind of is the same way if you're working from home. I mean, I know some people can separate them just fine. I'm not one of those people myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, I don't have to worry about that. Work isn't going to come home with me.
Yeah.
But
well, I've had people say, "Oh yeah, I love working from home. I actually work more. I might be working for 12 hours." And then I kind of
no, you're not.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that's probably incorrect, but at the same time, I kind of look at them funny, and it's like, why the hell would you want to work for 12 hours? I mean, like, why would you want to do that 12 hours at home? Like, you don't have anything better. I mean, I know a lot of people don't have anything better to do right now, but at the same token, it's like, that doesn't seem right.
Right. Me. Yeah.
I don't know. But we'll see how long, we have until things start, ramping back up. Unfortunately, there've been some stories, from folks that I know in other states, communities being more affected. Really, in my community, I don't really feel as touched by it as a lot of people do. I think even in our hometown, there have only been maybe a handful of actual fatalities from it.
Yeah.
And not a ton of cases, but then even statewide, we have, and I do think it's some diligence and definitely putting some measures in place before other places had as well. But I don't necessarily feel it as heavy as somebody who's in New York or in California, where these things, you have a lot more international travel, which increase the probability of these things being brought in and spread around, and more people and population density and everything. So it's in a way, just psychologically, it is kind of hard to I don't know what's the word, just like I can empathize with it, but I can't necessarily
relate to it.
Relate as heavily to it as some of these other folks. And that's just reality. So I'm just kind of sitting here staring at my window. It's like, well, crap, this sucks.
Right. It kind of caught me off guard today. I was just going about my daily business, at work, and we were heading back to the shop, and the radio announced that New York cases are starting to go down. They're seeing a turnaround where they were having 500 deaths a day in New York, whereas there's 11 cases in my hometown, no deaths. So I probably wouldn't be working the same way I was if I lived in New York. I wouldn't be going day to day the way I am.
Right.
I feel for those people. It's just hard to relate to that kind of fear.
Yeah.
And we don't fear it as much as a lot of people. We've talked about that. I think that's the main reason, honestly. It hasn't hit us personally yet.
Right.
Luckily.
And I mean, like, again, folks, don't take this as being callous about the potential destructiveness of the virus itself, but it's just one of those things where, to be honest with you, I don't even want to be talking about it. But I think in a way it's somewhat cathartic for us. But yeah, you have a stronger emotional reaction to something when it hits you personally. And if it doesn't, then it's kind of you can become detached from it a lot easier than other people. So, but again, I've just always had this sort of personal philosophy that if it's my time, it's my time, and you can't really fight that. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to be scared of a virus. There's too many things that could get you to be so scared of one thing.
Yeah, well, and it just becomes like, obviously neither of us want to die, but at the same token, when your time's up, your time's up. There's no fighting the inevitable fate that surrounds us as human beings.
That's right.
And I think that this is something that has been dealt with a lot in Star Wars, and especially when we're talking about this Clone Wars section of where we're at now, where we're marching towards the inevitable fate of the majority of Jedi.
Yeah.
And that fate is unfortunately the fall of the Jedi Order and the death of many, many thousands of Jedi. And because the plan was so well put in place by Palpatine, there was no real escaping it for all these folks. They were caught off guard. So fate has an interesting way of showing just how little control we have in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but of course, you'd be more optimistic of it being a Jedi. You can just become one with the Force, and everything's cool.
Yeah.
I just hang on to a husk of a body as long as I can.
See how many robotic parts you can get until you're finally just more robot than man. He's more machine than man.
That's okay. Now that we've discovered how Palpatine survived, we're all allowed to use essence transfer now.
Yeah.
The canon allows it.
Clones. We got to get Dolly the sheep out of mothballs and figure that out now, don't we? Do you remember how controversial that was? That might have been you might have been a little bit too young for.
No, I remember that.
So
now no one talks about it.
No one does. Well, honestly, cloning is kind of a scary thought in its own right, but I remember
so much
that
could go wrong with it.
That was very controversial. Very controversial.
I remember seeing the pictures, and it was almost eerie to see the pictures at the time.
Yep.
People made such a big deal of it. It was almost like looking at a zombie sheep, or was it a goat? No, it was a sheep.
Yeah, it's sheep.
Yeah, that's right.
So, now that we've brought the mood all the way down, just brought you down.
Viruses and
level.
Zombie sheep and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I suppose we can probably work our way into Clone Wars. Again, we'd kind of left off with this last arc with the Martez sisters and Ahsoka. and Ahsoka, going off with Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians, which then sets us up for this particular episode. So I guess what we'll just do. How about we just do initial thoughts first, and then we'll kind of go from there. So, what were your initial thoughts of our episode here?
Initial thoughts, I thought this was the best episode of the season so far. There was a lot more emotion than in most episodes this season. The attention to detail was really great. From something as simple as the dirt on Obi-Wan's face during battle, and let's see. I mean, even the paint on the trooper's helmet, every single thing. It just seems like the animation style. They focused more on the little details, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
Had some pretty great reunions, especially Rex and Ahsoka. That was really nice to see.
Yep.
All the clones obviously showing their respect was awesome. There was just a lot of cool little nuances to this episode that I feel like the other episodes kind of, I don't know how to put that.
Lacked.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they just didn't focus as much on those little things. The score was great.
Mm-hmm.
Really liked the music in it. Just all around a very good episode. And some great build up. I mean, this is set an hour before the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. The setup of this, so it's really cool to see someone else's side of that story.
Yeah, and that was something that we had talked about prior. Looking at this episode and seeing how it was going to tie in, or where it was going to tie in the timeline. And we pretty much get at the very beginning of this episode that, Palpatine's in trouble.
Yeah.
And, effectively there has to be a choice between Ahsoka's mission and the Chancellor. So, yeah, I think this felt more like the show, more like Clone Wars. I think I didn't hate the majority of the season here to this point. I just don't think it. I think it just felt like half thoughts. I don't want to say throwaway thoughts, but it just seemed very
not as memorable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, and we've discussed this. I think that those arcs could have been condensed down into less episodes, and they would have been just as good, maybe better. But I start to think like where we're at now, and again, like we already said, where we're at now is more what this season is supposed to be about. And the rest of the stuff was just stuff that they probably had ideas for, years ago and just never got to put them into actual episode format.
Forgot half of their PowerPoint presentation of the episode and just became kind of filler, unfortunately.
Right. But yeah, it was definitely a good episode. I was talking to Lindsay from Clashing Sabers this morning and just saying, this feels like the Clone Wars that we needed and that we're just finally getting. So, but yeah, interesting. The start of it had a far more cinematic start than what we've been used to. We get a little bit of a battle on this bridge between Obi-Wan and his forces here and Commander Cody. And then Anakin just sort of shows up out of nowhere, and he's God
mode turned on.
He's extra cocky, man. He's like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you? It's just like 1,000 droids. Like, why are you hiding and stuff? We're taking cover, Anakin." And then Anakin kind of go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say. Well, it just kind of reminds you, and again, we're so close to the start of Revenge of the Sith at this point. It reminds you of how cocky he became between Clone Wars. I'm sorry, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
This has come full circle at this point. He is now just as cocky as in Revenge of the Sith. Just as overconfident.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. He's just standing there with blaster bolts just going all around him. Doesn't really have any fear of the situation. So he does kind of go out in the fray and, in quotations, surrenders to the droids here. And it was basically a ploy to lure out the tactical droid, of course, to eliminate their ability to plan. We do see R2 here. He's, popping up and doing a little R2 scouting mission.
Recon droid.
Yeah, but then we also
Recon
see
droid.
exactly. And then we see Captain Rex and his troops are all under this bridge, effectively waiting for the word to attack. They all have their jetpacks on. And I actually thought it was pretty cool when the tactical droid comes out and then Anakin just sort of, brings him to him with the Force, does a little get over here and just lops his head off.
Yeah, it's always funny how sometimes they won't really use that almost cheat. Mm-hmm. And other times like, we don't want a chase scene. Just come here.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, he could do that with any character in Star Wars other than maybe Grievous.
Well, I mean, basically any droid, I would think.
Yeah.
I think that, no, I mean, like, I'm sure there are people like, I can't do it all the time. It'll drain them or power or whatever. Okay, but, maybe not every time, but you feel like it's hard to believe that as bumbling as these droids are, that they pose a huge threat. I mean, their biggest, it's been said their biggest advantage are their numbers. But they kind of just...
They're essentially zombies. They're mindless and just... They'll get you every once in a while. There's enough of them that'll happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It just sort of blows my mind a little bit that they can win. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It just blows my mind. So we do get a call from the fleet that we are getting a transmission from Fulcrum. And of course, they automatically think Saw Gerrera, and it's not. It is Ahsoka and Bo-Katan. So kind of an interesting reunion. And I gotta say, and I don't know what your thoughts were. It's obvious that Anakin is definitely trying to, reach out and be friendly and, I'm so happy to see you. Where have you been? What have you been doing? And like Ahsoka's a little bit more all business here. Like she just doesn't seem to want to be a part of, anything that the Republic and the Jedi are doing here, but she realizes that she kind of has to have help at this point.
Right. Yeah, which is sad because, I mean, obviously Anakin and Ahsoka had a really great relationship at one point. Their dynamic was truly one of the best parts of Star Wars, I'll say. So to see, her not reciprocate that warm feeling does kind of suck.
Yeah.
But I also understand why she doesn't want to get sucked back in. And I think that's her fear. She could easily get sucked back into it and become a pawn of the Chancellor. And she made it very clear her disdain for the Chancellor at that point as well.
Yeah, she did. And I thought she was a little cold with Obi-Wan too.
She was. I can understand it. If you look at the whole perspective of the Jedi and all their shortcomings, she's not wrong. But I think pointing that at Obi-Wan was a little misguided.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's always been one of the more fair Jedi, always wanted to help people in need. Obviously gets that from his master. But yeah, that was a little weird how she interacted with both of them, I thought.
Yeah, I did too. I wasn't. I mean, again, like I can kind of understand, but at the same token, it just sort of it was strange. It was just strange because in a lot of ways, obviously she was Anakin's Padawan, but still, you know, Obi-Wan still had a hand in everything that they were doing going forward.
Right.
Um,
Well, and obviously there should be inherent respect because that's her master's master. So
right.
automatically there should be quite a bit of respect there.
Well, and then also on top of that, the mission that they're taking is kind of very close to Obi-Wan as well, because he was there when Satine, Bo's sister, was killed, and she, they were both in love. At a time he probably would have left the Jedi Order for her. And, Bo kind of uses that a little bit against him, too. It's kind of like piling up on Obi-Wan Day.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Obi-Wan didn't get beaten enough in that fight. Just had to get tore down a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, he I don't know. I think it was a little unfair directly towards him, but it's always the decision between haste and planning, being strategic. Cuz like Ahsoka and Bo are like, we have to go do this now. We don't have time for anything. We have to go do this. You have to do it with us. And he's like, well, I have to kind of, juggle. We already have a war going on. If we do this, we could be going to war with Mandalore as well. And, we've got, stuff with the Chancellor, and like, there's a lot going on here, Ahsoka. It's like, I can't just like necessarily fly off. And again, I think it still displays a little bit of Ahsoka maybe not having all of the wisdom put together fully yet to sort of understand that there are definitely more implications of everything than what she necessarily thinks. And then on top of that, it's brought up a lot in this episode, politics. And I think that there has to be a distinction between politics and wisdom as well. Politics and, this isn't being political, Ahsoka. This is trying to levy the wisdom of potentially being in a second war that we can't sustain because we're not even really sustaining the first, and letting my personal feelings get in the way of, everything else we're doing. So.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, she's still a little naive in some ways, unfortunately, even though she's grown quite a bit. Her problem with Obi-Wan choosing to save the Chancellor is a bit misguided, because when you think about it, if the Chancellor is taken, tortured, and eventually killed, how many Republic, citizens and troopers and all of these other facets, how many people are going to lose their lives because they have no leader?
And that's obviously with the assumption that the Chancellor's good and not the most evil person in the galaxy.
Not a trap.
Yeah, if it were like old Chancellor Valorum or something like that, it would be a little different story.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, for her to not think big picture like that because she's so focused on what's going on in that one area, it does remind you, she might be a little older, but she's still a little naive.
Well, she kind of reminds me of the young Jedi from our new Jedi Order series. That were just buzzing around with their own private wars going on. We're trying to do the right thing, but we're not necessarily united in what is the right thing. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to think of, what was it, Kip?
Kip Duran.
Yeah, there was another one too that was along the same lines. I can't remember
Wuth.
Wuth Skidder, yeah.
Yeah.
The old Skidmeister. Yeah, just remembering some of that. And again, for those of you who haven't dived into the old extended universe, we're just talking some characters from the new Jedi Order series. And these were, kind of apprentices of Luke sort of deal. But he didn't really have this. It wasn't the same as it was when we're thinking about what's canon now. They kind of got some training, and then we're just sort of out on their own doing their thing. And again, it was very evident then that, yeah, you might be doing some good, but you're not really thinking about the larger scale of things. So right now we're kind of seeing that out of us. And this, honestly, this mission, with hindsight and obviously being at the sky level here where we're at, this is a far more important thing to get done than saving the Chancellor, because the Chancellor's in no danger. We know that because he's an evil SOB that planned the entire thing. But they don't know that. And they're just thinking that they have to save the leader of, the Republic. But if we take that away, obviously freeing Mandalore and eradicating Darth Maul is far more important.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, they really push Obi-Wan to join in this mission for that exact reason. And he makes it pretty clear, like, look, I've got too much going on. I've already killed him once. I'm not dealing with this.
Well, and that was something he said in passing. Now. Yeah, it's like, I've killed him before. You should try and capture him this time.
Doesn't seem to stay dead. It's like, I doubt he would seem to stay in jail either.
Well, it's pretty hard to kill a character when your writers refuse to let anybody die. Yeah. Oh no, he said it. Yeah, I don't care about Darth Maul anymore. He should have died in episode 1, but whatever. But yeah, we get Bo, levying some shame on there. However, we do get a moment between Anakin and Ahsoka, kind of breaking down the barrier a little bit, and he takes her to see Rex's division, which has done their Ahsoka paint jobs on their helmets. And this is something that I did get to see during Celebration. It was like this little snippet here. And, everybody calls her Commander still. They have a lot of respect for her. They realize who she is, what she's done, and whether she's a part of the Jedi Order or not, she still deserves that level of respect that, a commanding officer would. So that was, I thought that was pretty cool. It was a fitting tribute, and obviously Rex and her are close. So,
right, yeah, and they get their little jabs at each other. Hey, don't call me Commander anymore, okay? Yes, Commander.
Yep. And then we also get to see...
And you see that throughout the whole episode, too. It's really cool to watch him interact. Honestly, she's more open. It's ironic. She's more open to Rex right now, more playful than she is with her old master. That's strange in a way, how she's not willing to open up.
Well, I think with Rex, the relationship is much more simple, I feel like. Rex is a soldier. He understands the dichotomy between right and wrong. For Rex, there's really no gray area. For the Jedi, there's far more gray, even though they don't they don't want to say there is. So I don't know. Obviously, and with Anakin, I think there was a far deeper connection. That despite the fact that he did stand up for her. And she knows that, and he was the voice of reason there. He's still a part of the establishment that shunned her unjustly, and that she cannot go back to because of that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could be a little bit of a motive for the distance, I guess. But yeah, you're right. I do think she does have a far more easier time reconnecting with Rex.
Yeah.
So then we do get to see Ahsoka get her lightsabers here. After they kind of get the alert. everybody's off and running, Oh no. oh no, what's going to happen? I don't know. It's something about, like a, chancellor being taken. I don't know. Who's the chancellor? Well,
Who's this
anyway.
Grievous fellow, and why does he keep stealing people?
Grievous. So anyway, Ahsoka is able to take this division with her. The mission to Mandalore was not approved by the council. And effectively, Obi-Wan and Anakin are going to go off to Chancellor. We know this. This is literally the beginning of episode 3. However, Anakin's like, well, why don't we just let Ahsoka command her? It's like, well, she's not technically a part of the Republic anymore. Well, then let's just promote Rex to commander. It kind of feels weird calling him Commander Rex. It's just always Captain Rex. No, it's Commander Rex now. Rex.
Yeah. Doesn't roll off the tongue like Cody. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It is kind of odd. But anyway, we're kind of at this point where, again, we're sort of splitting the pack. And I was actually just trying to figure out the name because I want to get some of these names. Shakti was sent to protect the Chancellor, so dead.
Yeah,
dead.
Stabbed.
Dead. Yeah, dead. Who stabbed?
To those of you who like memes, Shakti just can't stop dying.
Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Now, there was one line in here that I do remember that I thought was odd narration from Obi-Wan. Ahsoka, surely you understand this is a pivotal moment in the Clone Wars. Right, because I would totally narrate that to everybody in real life. No one's going to say that. That's total writing, man.
I know, it's bad.
Don't you understand?
He might as well been like, he might as well just say, you must understand. We are finally at the end of the Clone Wars, and we're about to start the Revenge of the Sith. It's an important time for me. I can't just help you.
We just popped in the next DVD. Don't you understand? It's pivotal.
Deleted scenes for Revenge of the Sith. Don't you understand?
Don't you understand? This has already been written, this part. I mean, what we're doing right now wasn't written until now.
I'm stuck in a box. I literally cannot help you.
Yeah. I cannot help you.
Canon would be ruined.
Exactly. I've already been written another way, Ahsoka. Can't you understand how pivotal it is?
Lucasfilms will literally take all the money away from you and McGregor if I help you right now.
Exactly. Ahsoka does come back at him, and he's like, once again, you're playing, or as usual, you're playing politics. It's like, no, that's really not. I mean, I don't understand.
No. It's actually playing war, not politics, but that's fine.
She is right. Again, she is right, but in hindsight, she's right. If the leader of your people is under attack, you go to that leader. But Ahsoka is technically right. Talking about, we need to help the people that really need the Jedi. And it's like, well, right now our leader's being attacked and Coruscant's being attacked. So we kind of need to be there. What do you think?
Yeah.
So that whole dialogue, it's not technically correct, but it is correct.
Right.
It's like, isn't it ironic? It's like a rainy day on your wedding day or whatever that, what was that, Alanis Morissette who did that?
Yeah. Yeah. Just have Ahsoka thing with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we get our split up here, but before we do, Anakin does give Ahsoka back her sabers. So that was a pretty cool moment.
Yes. Maybe just a little better than before.
Just a little better. Like, what did you do to them? Gonna give them a little polish.
They're more blue now.
They're more bluish.
I changed them back from when they were blue before to then green. Now they're blue again. Enjoy.
She had done some done some changing here and there. I'm still a
Is
fan.
It sad that I almost... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying, wouldn't it be nice if the upgrade had been, white lightsabers? Obviously, we know the story of her getting them already, but I thought that would be kind of cool if it came from Anakin.
Would have made a little bit more sense. Would have made just a little bit more sense there, but hey, whatever. So anyway, we have our split up, and Ahsoka goes to Mandalore with little squadron here. This is actually really, really neat. I think that I might have enjoyed this sort of battle a little bit more than anything that I've enjoyed in Clone Wars for some time. I thought it was animated really well. The sequence was really cool. Even the confrontation between our fake leader of Mandalore, Almac, and Bo-Katan. It's like, we know you're Maul's puppet, and we're coming for you. So just drop the facade. Blah blah blah, and
don your armor and attack.
Yeah, exactly. Just it's coming. We're coming, and that's the end of it. Ahsoka basically also acknowledges, you're nothing like your sister. I think that's the understatement of the year, Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So
I think it would have been. I'm sorry, it's a little morbid, but I think it would have been funny if she just looked over at Ahsoka and said, yeah, I mean, I'm not dead.
Terrible. Let's see here. So, I'm just, I actually have the footage up for me now, so I'm just sort of jumping around here. We do have, I should have done this the entire time. I don't know why I never really thought about just pulling up footage as we were talking. We could totally do that. We have the technology.
Right.
There was a little part here where Rex was like, we forgot to bring you a jetpack. And she's like, I don't need it. Which is kind of, okay, all right, Ahsoka, you're just going to jump down on everything. Got it. Use the Force. And she does.
Race you to the bottom.
Yeah, race you to the bottom. Again, bringing a little bit of the playfulness in here. But I don't know. I really enjoyed this air battle. What did you think of it?
It was awesome. I loved everything about it. Of course, the Mandalorian ships are just sweet in this with their little rotating wings.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was really well done. The falling ship animation when Ahsoka is trying to descend to the bottom was really cool. How they did that.
Yeah.
Having just all these Mandalorians fighting like that, it's literally everything that I wanted out of Mandalorian that I didn't get. I was okay with it, but it's really what I wanted. Just a bunch of space battles, airship combat battles. You got Mandalorians fighting off rockets.
Yep.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah. And we also had a little Ahsoka save there. She was able to, save one of the ship pilots who was stuck and makes it down before
Thanks,
Rex.
Captain.
And then you actually have the poster that I have up here on the wall. This was where my poster came from as she lands on the pad and the ship bursts behind her. So she's in the fire. And that's the poster that I got from Celebration. So
yeah, and that's an awesome moment too.
It's a great poster. I really like that a lot.
Yeah. And obviously the scene right after where she deflects like 1,000 freaking blaster bolts is just epic.
Yeah, I know. I actually posed a question. Do you think she would have had as much trouble dealing with the Pikes as she did if she had her sabers?
No, she would have just killed them all. Wow, she probably wouldn't have killed them all.
Killed them all! The women, the children, all of them.
No, just just the evil ones. That's the difference between her and Anakin.
Anakin.
That's why she turns gray and he turns to the dark side.
Anakin, I killed all the Pikes. No, you don't understand. The women, the children, the men, all the Pikes. I killed them all.
They're like animals to me. I hate them.
All the Pikes. Goodness. So what do you think
that would have made the confrontation with Maul a little bit more important.
That would have been funny.
Like, you literally killed a third of my syndicate. What the hell?
You killed them all of my syndicate. Oh God, that would have been great. What did you think of Saxton here? His little crown helmet with the little spikes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He's definitely ranked up there. He is the big boss to deal with at the end. You can definitely tell that's going to be a thing. The little boss. Shield and everything.
Yeah. I thought I thought it was interesting. It's kind of a cool picture. I don't know. Some of the Mando armor, like the more you really look at it, the more it kind of resonates, you know. It's like, it is pretty cool.
Yeah. One thing I could never get behind with Mandalorians is the stupid backpack rockets, though.
What are you talking about?
I'm just gonna lean over so I can shoot a rocket. Hold on. It's like, no, that looks so stupid.
Come on, man. Sometimes you just need some artillery.
And then they slap that on him. It's like, come on, don't make him do that stupid crap.
Artillery. Sometimes you just need a rocket on your back.
Why is it gotta be like that? Why can't it be a little control arm gun that pops up on your shoulder?
Because then you'd look like the guy from the
Why do you have to bend over?
Then you'd look like Bill Burr from The Mandalorian with his little tiny gun that he used like once in that prison ship.
Well, you know what? It's better than having to bend over to kill something.
Okay, fine, whatever. What if they did what's that thing where you like put your hands behind your head, you do the arches? What if they did like one of those things where it just flipped over and did a little arch and shot it out? Instead of bending down, they just roll back. Would that be better for you?
Or how about this? They just have rockets in their shoes.
Okay,
they just jump backwards. Slow motion, John Woo style, jump backwards.
Now you're just
midair, shoot rockets out of your feet.
Now you're just being silly. Silly. All right, so we have...
he's awesome. Other than that.
Mm-hmm. So we have our confrontation between Bo and our, fake leader. Were you... I don't know. I guess I didn't expect him to be able to put up a fight, but he did.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't realize he was an actual combat leader. I mean, I thought he was more of a political head, not a warrior at all.
Well, I think that it's probably a bit of the difference between Mandalorians and some. I guess I don't necessarily know who exactly to equate it to in Star Wars, but like a Trek thing might be something like Klingons or something like that, where they had like politician ranked people.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously he was defeated. It didn't take long. I just didn't expect him to put up a fight, like, at all, for some reason. Right. I just didn't expect at all.
I didn't think he'd don armor, honestly.
Well, yeah. Again, I guess that's just one of those things we have to sort of think. It's like, well, they're Mandalorians, so they're going to have armor, I guess.
What do you expect?
So, anyway... We have we're actually marching towards the end here. We have Ahsoka and part of her battalion here going through the underground tunnels, and they're basically being set up. This whole thing was a setup. Bo-Katan attempts to reach out to Ahsoka, can't get to her. Her entire troop was taken down, and. Then we finally get our face off with Darth Maul. So
the start of it.
Well, yeah,
The
true.
reveal of it.
True.
I was hoping for Obi-Wan. Why are you here?
Yes, that was obviously I understand why we both understand why Maul wants Obi-Wan. And I think we both understand why he would expect Obi-Wan as well. Yeah. I mean, he didn't like kill anybody that he loves or anything like that, but
No, only 2 people.
But yeah, I did think it was pretty cool. Maul, coming out here. I was like you said, hoping for Kenobi, and Maul has such a strange attitude throughout this series, where it's kind of like I don't care anything about you, Jedi. I'm just here for my own personal vendettas. I want Kenobi. That's all that he's about right now. He just wants Kenobi, and he's not going to get him. At least not right now. Right. Later.
Not during Revenge of the Sith, at least.
Later. So, I guess like we have been doing, what are your expectations for the next episode?
See, that's the only problem. You can't have this thing where, she gets captured, Anakin has to save her or anything like that, because literally they're on a call. They're already...
You sure she can't be put in another prison cell?
I mean, she can, but she is the master of unlocking, so clearly she's this generation's Jill Valentine. She can figure out how to get out of it.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell what we're going to see happen now.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, and with the benefit of knowing the end of the Maul storyline, we know that Maul was not killed here.
Right. And we obviously know that Ahsoka can't die here either. So.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I guess she can die in a way.
Well,
just a little bit on the inside.
Yes. And that does open up a bit of a just like a black hole right here, where are they going to fight even? Are they even going to have an actual duel? Or is it going to be something like, I didn't come for you. I don't care about Mandalore. I want Kenobi. That's it. Take Mandalore and I'm just going to leave type of deal. Because he does have her at a disadvantage. I mean, she's surrounded. And even the greatest Jedi of all time can't, indefinitely withstand blaster fire. Eventually they'll be taken down. So I don't know. I don't know if this confrontation is going to wind up being epic or not. I kind of feel like it's going to be maybe kind of a non-starter. But what I'm interested in is then what happens from here. Say, let's get past Darth Maul. What then happens after that? Because we obviously know that we're leading basically straight into revenge, man. I mean, we're moving into episode 3.
Yeah.
I mean, we would assume they're going to say, Anakin and Obi-Wan are going on their mission to save the Chancellor, and then they're going to be returning to Coruscant. So what does Ahsoka do?
Right, and you have to be really careful because there's a lot of continuity breaking things you could write into this story. I mean, essentially, she can't interact with anybody major.
From here on out,
she can't interact. She can't interact with the Council. She cannot interact with Anakin or Obi-Wan. Commander Cody's off limits. Rex is pretty much all she has.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Now, let me also put this just sort of in your ear, and then we can kind of start wrapping up. But what if they decide to put in something that's not necessarily like canon?
Change it up a little bit.
I don't know.
essentially changing the canon of Revenge of the Sith?
I don't know. It's been something that's been thrown around. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I'm just saying, like, what if they did? Like, what if they did do something that was off what we know happens from a cinematic standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, that could be very interesting. It would be dangerous, though.
Yeah, I agree.
It'd be very dangerous.
Well,
I don't even want to speculate. It's actually exciting enough that I just can't wait to actually see another episode. And I don't want to. I don't want to overthink it.
Yeah, true enough. And we've got a lot more to go, and I think that we're actually marching towards something that, you know, maybe we didn't think of. So I'm excited about it. I think that we just have to sit back and enjoy, you know, kind of the end of this show and just see how it where it lies at the end of the day. But
Right.
yeah, I guess was there really any other thoughts that you had about the episode or anything else in general?
Just in general, I'm very happy that we finally get a satisfying, I mean, really satisfying episode.
Yep. Same.
We're pretty far into the season, so it's about time.
Yep. Absolutely. Same here. Definitely looking forward to the conclusion of the Clone Wars. And it's been a long time coming. Long time coming, man. And we've got only a couple episodes left, and then we'll have to, you know, figure out what else we're going to talk about.
I don't know. It's not like we have any books or anything.
Nah. We hate books. We hate reading. Reading's for
books
suckers. Suckers.
I sure wish it would be nice if we knew what happened to Ahsoka after all this. Too bad there's no format for that.
Exactly. Oh, goodness. Well, anyway, folks, I think that's about all we have for our episode today and all we have for Clone Wars. Hopefully you've been enjoying the series, and also hopefully you've been enjoying the podcast as well. If you'd like to reach out and, you know, just chat about anything, chat about any of our episodes, any of our conclusions, if you have some of your own you'd like to share, please do. You can hit us up on Twitter. Just follow us there at TC Plan Podcast. You can also search us out on the Facebook. And if you'd like to send us an email, just send that off to tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. So, yeah, you guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.